Coming to you live from the Stream.tv studios in Hollywood, California, Pensado's Place is brought to you by Vintage King, the Blackbird Academy, Avid, Recording Connection, Studio 202, Slate Media Technologies and Slate Digital, and Audio Technica.
I'm Chris Kringle. This is Old St. Nick.
Ho, ho, ho.
And we are here to introduce you to a mic master who's incredible.
Yep.
We're going to pull the first winner of the Isotope campaign.
All right.
Information on Avid that you have to do by December 31st. A NAMM update and an announcement of one of our own's engagement. Yeah. You're at the place? It's Pensado's Place.
Ho, ho.
Welcome everybody. Hope you had a really good week. Make sure you take time to enjoy the holidays. Yeah. Spend some time with your family. It's actually good for your creativity. Thanks so much to all the subscribers. I don't know what the last count was. I know last week was 96,000, but we're really close. What a great Christmas present you're providing for us, one that we can give back to you.
Absolutely. Our
sponsor roll call, you know it by now, Vintage King, Blackbird, Audio Technica, Studio 202, and Recording Connection. Those are our big horses. We thank you, family. And then our smaller pony is no less valuable to us. We love them as well, too. Ultimate Ears, G-Tech, Gobbler, AEA, UA, and NAMM, and others. We're still coming to you, as you can see, from our temporary digs, while our permanent digs get together. Although I must tell you, it's kind of fun to be at some other place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different energy and...
kind of fun just to be anywhere, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. Now, while this is Dave's permanent spot, and we're going to show that to you later, we're having a lot of fun, and we will unveil our new spot once we get it together, and it is getting together as we speak. But this really fabulous facility called Legends is a wonderful place when we show it to you all together. Moving forward, speaking of Avid, keep this in mind from last week, and we'll announce it again. Go to this URL right here. Look at your options. That's right, Dave's pointing to it too. To upgrade to Pro Tools 11, pick one option that fits your budget and everything, and do it by December 31st. Here's why. It's 16 months of upgrades at 60% savings. You just got to get in by December 31st. That's a great deal. Easy breezy, get it in, brought to you by all the team at Avid and us at Pensado's Place.
It's a good deal, Herb.
It is a good deal?
Yeah, it's a really good deal.
Okay, so you've heard it from the master. The other thing we're going to do a drill...
Don't say master.
Well, yeah, probably I shouldn't. Mastermind. Going to do a big drill down on their new S6 console. We'll show you that next week.
It's nice.
It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
DP went over and got all the lowdown yesterday, and we're going to shoot a nice thing to show you. Let's talk about NAMM. You should be there. It's next month. It's at the end of January, I think the 22nd through the 25th. We will be at the Avid booth live for 3 days. We are also the keynote speech to open. Look, it's a chance for us to get to see you. So come see us. We're pleased about it. There's likely to be more things we'll do. As Dave talked about last week, the app is really cool. Yeah. Check it out, and we want to see you there. Now, a little Christmas news for you. They have discovered that the North Pole is actually in Boston. And it's disguised as the Isotope headquarters, which is why we are wearing these hats. Because they sent a lot of Christmas presents.
You said earlier.
Well, I had to convince you to do it. So
I really don't look good in this hat?
No, you look incredible.
Okay.
Incredible, absolutely. So they sent a lot of Christmas presents to give to you, and we're gonna each week we're gonna pull something out of the Christmas. Actually, is Donner or Blitzen around? Do you have the Christmas bag, Donner, Blitzen? Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Thank you. And you did that without hoof sounds.
Look at this, Chris.
That's very good. Nick, what an incredible thing. So why don't we pull some, don't show stuff. So we're going to have old St. Nick go in the box and pull something out, and then I'm going to go in the bag and pull something out too. You ready?
When did we get that Trojan sponsorship?
I can't tell you yet. So,
okay.
All right, so you are randomly picking through the box.
Okay.
When you're showing up the bags to other people and showing prizes.
Okay.
Just go in and pick something.
Okay. Alloy 2. I use this every week.
Ooh, look at that. Alloy 2, man. You get to do that. Can I go in the box and pick something?
There you go.
Alloy 2. But you know what? We're going to do a value add. One prize is just not enough for us.
Ooh.
No, I get to pull one.
Oh,
Random, as you can tell.
easy there, Chris.
Oh my God, look what else you won. You get a book. You get Alloy 2 and the Pensado Papers. Not bad,
To the
right?
same person?
Same person.
Whoa,
Pretty
that's
cool.
that's not what we talked about.
But that's what we're doing. Because we're not doing double people. We can do 2 people next week.
Let me see this book.
How about that? So, the winner, let's give a round of applause, goes to Powell Jakimiak. I'm pretty sure it's Powell Jakimiak. Congratulations from all the elves in Boston, all the ones here in LA. The rest of you, get your names in. This bag is full of hot stuff, a lot of stuff. So where do you go to? You go to pensadosplace.tv/isotope. Enter your email. Make it happen, people. It's Christmas time. So congratulations. We'll get that stuff out to you. Now, here is a biggie. Certainly a biggie to us. We want you guys to take a crack at remixing and updating the Pensado theme song.
That's going to be fun.
So it is. Obviously, that's an important thing. We've had a wonderful run with the theme. We want to keep some of its signature. So our friends at Indaba have joined us in sponsoring a contest to remix the Pensado theme. Again, go to this URL right here. You'll go right to the page, enter, and get busy. The grand prize winner gets software from Isotope, ear monitors from Ultimate Ears, a book, a permanent credit on the show, and the theme on the show every week going out all over the globe. 2 runner-ups will get earphones and the book, and then the most popular vote, 3 of those guys will also get pro status in parts of Indaba. So a bunch of people get to win things. As for judges, Dave will judge, I will judge, and the originator of the theme, Leo Saramondo, one of our guys, he's also going to judge with us. Leo did the original theme, and he is family.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a big deal for us. We want to put this in your hands, give you a chance. You only have to do about a minute of it. We'll run this through the month of December. We'll pick at the top of the year and then unveil. Make it hot, reinterpret it, keep some of the signatures, and just do your thing. Rock it out.
Can I give him a little tip?
Sure.
No accordions.
There you go. So you heard it from Dad. So this is major.
Accordions are so 1990s.
Yeah.
It's got to be hip.
Well, you used to put them in black ballads, and it was always amazing the emotion that the accordion would give the song.
I was almost an accordion player.
You were an accordionist.
If you want to find out more about that, read the book.
And now on a personal note, the answer is she said yes. Congrats to our very own Brian Peterson, BP, on his engagement to his lovely Leah. BP, I gotta tell you, man, you are glowing with pride as a mate and even more as a dad.
Yeah, he's gonna be a great dad.
Leah, you got a good one. And BP, from Dave and myself and Will and Cole and Chongar and Jonathan and all the folks at Team Pensado, we congratulate you. It's good to be shooting with you, Tex.
Yeah.
Off we roll, my man.
Speaking of shooting, we had a blast yesterday with BP. Sometimes you work with them all these years. We've been working with him since the 1930s.
Since the 1930s, exactly.
And you forget how good the man really is.
Yeah.
Yesterday was just a blast to have him around.
We absolutely had a ball. As a matter of fact, you can introduce. So talk about next week's shoot and introduce our guests.
Well, the kind folks here at Legends let us use their live room, which is spectacular. So just got so much history there, including some of my history there.
It does.
And we convinced Wes Dooley to grab a couple of mics and let us show them off. And Cole and I decided that we were going to make it a really difficult on Wes. So we decided to use no EQ, no compression, and the mic pre's out of Cole's Apollo.
Wow.
And so when you hear this, what you're about to hear, remember what you're hearing is just the true microphones, the incredible N8, the incredible N22, and
what was the artist's name who performed?
Marcos Lopez Iglesias.
Marcos
Iglesias.
Mm-hmm. Shout outs to him. You're going to see him do
job.
2 things, acoustic guitar and play drums. So you're kind of getting a live ITL here, and enjoy this conversation between Wes, our man Wes, and our man Dave.
Yes.
Roll it.
Hey guys, vintage microphones that we all love, new microphones that we all love. They're the perfect blend and combination of art and science. And today, we're blessed to have as a guest again on the show, Wes Dooley, who embodies everything about art and science in microphone manufacture and production. Wes, my friend, thanks for taking time out to come and hang with us. Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, it's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you, man. Let's see if you say that 30 minutes from now, okay? You look different without your hat, Wes. I'm kind of trying to get used to this look.
Well, you know, these are widescreen days, so a tall hat's a little bit of a distraction.
You're such a humble person. I know you're not comfortable talking about the art and science of microphones. The Germans were really good at the science, but there's a little heart lacking in some of their microphones. Some of the Americans got the heart, but they didn't get the technical part. But one of the things about AEA microphones, your company, is they seem to have an embodiment of the perfect blend of both, you know, like the new mic that you just came out with, the N8, is spectacular, my friend. I love this microphone. In fact, this is the little guy right here. I love the flat black. It reminds me of a rat rod. You grew up in Southern California. You know what a rat rod is, right, Wes? Doesn't it have that rat rod kind of classy?
Everything we do is hot rodded from the 1930s, RCA stuff. And since one of the first great microphones was the 44A, I sometimes say, well, I take that 1932 Deuce Coupe, you know, and we just hot rod it as far as we can. And that's what we've done. We've taken the ribbon, the big ribbon sound of the 44A, and the point where it became the great mic, the 44B BX.
Let me ask you something, Wes. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say I'm new to audio, and I've gone through an introductory course at school. I know a little bit about microphones. Why a ribbon microphone? Why have you dedicated your life to ribbon microphones? I know the answer, but I'm trying to be devil's advocate here.
Well, I wanted to make some recordings of acoustic music friends played. Clancy Brothers with Tommy Macomb was the first group I got to record for my college radio show.
I have no idea who that is, but go ahead.
Yeah, they were the first big Irish with a name like Dooley. You know, I called and said, hey, you're at the Troubadour. Will you stay late? Can I bring a machine over and record? And I had no idea what I was doing. I just pulled a machine out of a console, put it in my 53 Pontiac, took the announce mic. The station was now totally dead. If I didn't come back that night and put it back together, they wouldn't have been on in the morning. And I recorded my reel of tape. And I later did that with people like Lightning Hopkins.
Well, you've recorded everybody famous, I'm sure.
No, I just recorded people who played at the Troubadour, the Ice House, the Ash Grove.
And that was when you fell in love with ribbon mics?
Well, no, I was totally modern. I got Neumann's. I bought a U47 at the Hal Roach Studio auction, got a couple of U67s. We had to build our own power supplies because we just had no money. And that and tape, you know, you had this kind of sizzly sound, but tape tamed it because every time you played it back or made a copy, a little bit of the high end went away.
Right.
And so these tightly stretched diaphragms that, you know, have that upper tiz, you know, like U47s or 414s, that got smoothed off and you listened to it on the radio and it just had a nice airy sound instead of when you listen to it right off the microphone through the preamp, it was just a little bit aggressive.
Oh, gotcha.
And it wasn't until I met Wally Heider recording Jackie DeShannon over at the Ice House, and he had a 3-track half-inch machine, and I just went, wow. Because all I had, you know, I'd gotten to Ampex 1/4-inch 2-track, and he said, after I helped load the truck out, these guys, he and the chief engineer, Frank DiMidio they were both at the time working over at United Western with Bill Putnam, and this was just side work they did.
UAD Bill Putnam.
Yeah. And they said, hey, we're recording Johnny Rivers in Hollywood next week. Could we pay you to come do this? And I now understand at my age why they'd want a 20-year-old to load and unload the truck. But I said, sure, I'll do it for free. And they said, no, we'll pay you money. So that was my first paid job.
Oh, wow.
Going and recording Johnny Rivers.
That's cool. I've got in my hand a ribbon. Doesn't look like much, Wes. All those incredible sounds just come through this little guy. You guys at home, this is a piece of aluminum. It's about 1.8 microns thick, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what
this
you're
one's
doing,
a little short. This is 1.79, but.
Yeah. Well, you got really good sense, but that's artists like you who are great guitarists. You got that.
So when you take this little piece of aluminum, and yours are aluminum as opposed to, what were the original 44s and 77s?
Oh, that is original material.
Oh,
Here,
it is.
Let me show that for a second.
I don't think they can see it, but just describe it.
Well, what it is this is when if you go online and look up how mics are made, how ribbons are made, you'll see us take this very thin 1.8 micron, 88 millionths of an inch thick aluminum that's backed with paper on either side, and we put a crimp on it. And that
I thought
allows
the paper was to protect it. The paper actually is part of the process?
Well, that's part of the manufacturing process, and then we remove the paper when we actually put it. That's why when you look at this you can see the silver reflection, because that's the actual ribbon put in place. It's 80 millionths of an inch thick, and it actually acoustically matches the air's impedance within half dB.
And is this tensioned at all? This?
Yeah, it's tensioned down.
The amount of tension determines the sound of it?
The amount of tension determines how easily it dances to the air, moving.
So the more tension, the more high end? Is that?
No, it's more the more tension, the less output, and the less bass. We tension them real light down to 16.5 hertz, below 20, so we can have bass all the way down to 20. And this stuff, this design, this was the first great microphone design when they did the 44B. Right. And they got an Academy Award in '31 for their ribbon mic work from the Motion Picture Academy. Wow. And these had a native figure 8 pattern. They'd taken the German work from Siemens in the 20s, bought the patent, and then freed the ribbon by making it open on both sides and letting it be a natural and native figure 8. And it's still the best pattern, the best accuracy, the best off-axis of anything made. It holds pattern below 20.
This technically is a figure 9. It's one better than a figure 8.
Right.
You know what? You mentioned the word award. I'm gonna brag on you a little bit, my friend. I know you're humble, but guys, Wes has won an award that Thomas Edison has won. This award. Alexander Graham Bell has won this award. It's the silver.
Okay, it's the silver Edison Berliner Bell Award, a silver medal from the audio engineering society. It's named after those guys, but those guys came, Audio Engineering Society's only been here like 60 years or so. Yeah. So those guys predate it, and we named it. Mm-hmm. Because I've been active with the Audio Engineering Society for 50 years now.
Wow.
I had a boss who said, you're pretty good, Wes, but you don't know nothing. So you need to join up with the AES and start going to the local meetings. And we have about 1,000 members locally.
So what you're telling me is you voted yourself in on this award. Is that what you're saying, Wes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
They're always best if you can just, I want it to look like this.
Rare.
How about, the medal's about this big. Of course, if I'd done it, it'd be about this big because bling's in these days.
Bling. Don't say bling ever again, Wes.
Okay.
On the N8, I found that I like it on guitars, bass, overheads, strings, horns, which are somewhat traditional uses for ribbon microphones. What was it that surprised you the most about this microphone that you didn't expect it to sound good on? I know you've tried it on everything. Flatulence?
I haven't tried that.
Okay.
Although there was a guy in Paris who used to play tuba, and it was gas-powered.
No joke.
Right. It was the flat-afloat.
I think you got me back.
I'm sorry, but that's a real story.
Okay, let's sell some microphones here. What did you try it on anything like what about piano? Does it sound good on piano?
It really does sound good on
that
piano.
Low end and the top end.
What this is as much as we know, and a whole lot of people who are no longer alive knew about ribbon mics. This was to celebrate, we did a pair of mics, the silver one for the start of our 50th year, doing pro audio, and the black one,
By
the
silver,
Dark
you
Knight.
mean the N22,
The N22.
which is part of the Nuvo series.
Yeah, we developed the Nuvo series,
Yeah.
which is everything we knew about how to make a big ribbon. And there's two areas we usually work to, because ribbons are the king of proximity effect. That's the figure 8 part. So you have huge bass.
Wait a minute. The ribbons have more proximity than say a classic microphone like a 57 or something?
Oh yeah, a figure
I didn't
8.
know that.
The figure 8 is the thing that gives you your proximity effect. So if anything that's not a figure 8, and these are native and natural figure 8, so they are the ones who define that.
So
They
as
have
I get
proximity.
closer, check, 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 that kind of proximity?
Right, the sort of thing that I would do in radio, where I'd want to be saying, now I'm going to play for some of you girls in the dorms. Give me a call. We'll have coffee after.
Give me a call, we'll have coffee. So what were some of the unexpected uses?
Well, I was surprised how many people started using it on an electric guitar up close, because the N22 had been made specifically for that, where you could literally have the microphone right up, as close to the cone as you want to put it.
I got you.
And people like Linda Perry would say, it's got a little bit too much bass, but it's cool, on a 44 on the classic mics. So this, which has more of the sound of the 44, because it was designed for using far out and still having lots of bass and having huge bass close, we had these people who were just putting it right up on top, and we went, oh.
You know what? Let's show an example of that. Cole Nicer, my assistant, mic'd up these drums with a couple of N8s. Hey Cole, wherever you're at, are we about 20 feet away from Marcos over here on drums? Okay, good. So we're about 20 feet away. The mics are about 15 feet apart. I want to introduce you guys to Marcos Lopez Iglesias. ¿Cómo está? And he's going to play a couple of bars on the drums. I want you to focus when you're listening to Marcos play. I want you to focus on the sound of the hi-hats, the aggressiveness of the snare, and the round fatness of the kick drums. Impress us, Marcos. Thank you, Marcus. Man, that was incredible. At home, I hope you're hearing what I'm hearing on these microphones. It's 2 microphones are giving you what you just heard. That's pretty doggone impressive. When we were setting these up, and when Cole was setting up the mics, I was blown away that 2 mics could give you that much clarity of the sound. And by the way, Marcus, you're a bad drummer, man. So, Wes, one of the things that I noticed when I was listening to the drums, the playback of them, it seems like one of the differences between the N8 and the N22 is the N8 seems to have a little lower lows and a little higher highs. Would that be an accurate way to describe the differences between the two? Like from your perspective as the designer, what are the differences?
As the designer, what I did with the N8 is I went back to the 44 and our other minimalist microphone, the 88 stereo mic. And I put as absolutely little as I could between the ribbon and the outside world. So that you could really hear what a ribbon unfettered could sound like. And of course, the 44 was designed in a time when it was much easier to go just put it up in front of the Symphony of the Air. You know, the RCA labs were in New York at that time. The Symphony of the Air, the NBC Symphony was playing every night. You just went and put the mic you were working on up in front, and you'd listen to the food groups, from vocals to percussion, the brass, the woodwinds, the strings. And when you walk back and forth and what you heard live in the room where the mic was and what you heard on the loudspeaker from that matched well all the way across, then you had a good design. And since measuring microphone acoustic performance was cumbersome, you actually just listened to it, and when it really did well on music all the way across, then you bothered to measure it. Okay. And we did the exact same approach on both the N22 and the N8, but what we did with the N22 is we were working up close and personal for live sound reinforcement and for small studios where you wanted to be pretty close and not have a lot of room. Here, we went back, this is the other end of our 50th year. This we set them a year apart. And we went back to the 44 sort of sound where it was for a big room. Because originally, people would play in big rooms. The studios were big. Wally Heider, who introduced me to ribbons, he said, well, these Neumanns are real nice, but, and then he'd be recording Stan Kenton and that sort of stuff, and he'd have you put ribbon mics up in front of the woodwinds, in front of the brass. And I realized, wow. And Stan, when I'd record him at jazz festivals, would always listen to my Neumann recordings and say, these are nice, Wes. But the stuff that Wally High would record, that, you know, he had the mix of mics, and that's where I said, you know, I'm going to have to get some of those mics sometime.
Let me ask you a question. It's about time, right? Which would you rather do? If you could only get 2 mics, would you rather have 2 22s, 2 8s, or 1 8 and 1 22?
Oh my. Well, since we make a really nice Wintec designed screen for these things now, I'd probably go with N8s and just have a windscreen with it. Really? Probably. I designed the 22 to be the musician's microphone, to survive almost any situation possible. But I'm pretty good at paying attention to my mics and helping them survive. So I'd probably go for as much bandwidth as I can, because the 22 has so much protection that the proximity effect, you have to get in pretty tight so that that boost takes care of the way I rolled off acoustically the lows so that it could be used in outdoor situations.
The prevailing wisdom is that you got to be careful with phantom supply and ribbon microphones. These microphones, are the 22 and the 8, are both powered by phantom power.
Right.
That's a rather recent new bit of technology, correct?
Well, phantom power is a 60s thing.
Not phantom power, but I mean,
that was a Neumann
as
thing.
It relates to ribbons.
With ribbon mics, phantom power's been around for about a decade. We started, the first one we did is our Everything We Know About a 44, the A440, and that was phantom powered. And we took a slightly different approach. We use it as a buffer, and that allows us to really experiment with transformers, and it allows us to have a microphone that can drive, it comes out at higher level because the transformer is a higher ratio transformer. It allows us very low impedance lines. Instead of a 300 or 250 ohm source, we're now about a 95 ohm source. We can drive 1,000 feet of cable instead of the 600 feet or so that in all of the Soul to Soul tours, the duets at the end were one of our ribbons, the big 44 instead of the small N8 and 22. And they were just knee-to-knee doing those and driving 600 foot of cable, and that one mic was driving the overhead.
Wow. Let me ask you this. I'm noticing that the N8 and the N22 seem to sound good almost regardless of which mic preamp you hook it to. You did a shootout recently on the internet. It was Scott Sill, Flow Guitar. You guys check it out on the internet. And Wes goes through a bunch of classics, a bunch of his microphones. And one of the things that impressed me was how the consistency of the sound didn't change when the mic changed. And then my own experience has been the consistency of the sound doesn't change as much as some mics with different mic preamps.
Right.
Is that because the impedance is higher and then you're driving, about a 25 microvolt. I can't remember the exact.
That's probably more like 12 to 20 millivolts per Pascal.
Millivolts, that's what I meant. Is that why the mic preamp isn't as important on these mics? They sound amazing with every preamp, from about a mid-price on up, including your preamps, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Is that by design, or is that a pleasant surprise?
No, that was flat out by design. We started this project in '06, what became the N8, as a Boston Pops, San Francisco Symphony sort of accent mic. It was going to be way too expensive, and it was a passive design, and I went on to do other things with active electronics for the preamps.
Gotcha.
Which seemed to be more needed. And there's only a dozen of us, so there's really a limit to what we can try to do. We try to address things that really make a difference in musicians and engineers' lives.
Gotcha.
And this, with the phantom power, allowed us to have enough level with the high ratio transformer, the custom German one we developed, that you can use almost any preamp. You have to have 7 mils of current, so some of the battery-powered stuff chokes out.
Gotcha.
But anything that makes IEC spec,
You're getting a little
it's fine.
You're getting a little above my pay grade
That's all
here. Let's dial it
buzzwords.
back.
So we're now phantom-powered, runs on any preamp pretty much, and it sounds consistent. And we wanted that consistent sound so you could have the best possible
You certainly
sound
nailed that.
with anything you owned.
So be honest with me. Go ahead and just tell me I'm completely wrong and I should
Oh, you're
change
completely
careers.
wrong. On what, though?
Well, this concept that instead of going for the EQ, change the mic, and well, screw that. I don't want to get up. I'd rather EQ than change the mics.
Well, it's
Am I
way
a bad
easier.
person?
You're a lazy person. Wally Heider taught me a bunch of stuff. I mean, he was the first mentor I had who really knew his stuff.
Like what kind of stuff did he do?
Oh,
He's back
you're
from the Italian
vacation.
Riviera.
How was the Riviera?
Just wanted to stop in and see my friends. Bye-bye. Keep going. Don't forget to ask the design philosophy question.
Okay. The ultimate photobomb. That caught me off guard.
That's great.
I forgot where we were. So you were saying that all Norman microphones suck? Take it from
No, I'm saying that the people that I met who were doing recording in decent-sized rooms, whether they be over at the RCA studios, the Dave Gold and the rest at Gold Star, Cal Harris there, who went over to Motown from there, Wally Heider in the what's now Ocean Way and East West, and the crew, they all taught me to move the microphones. And if you couldn't get
That's
the sound
probably
you
because
wanted...
they didn't have the kind of EQs we have nowadays.
Well, they didn't have a lot of EQ.
They didn't even
but-
have parametrics back then.
No, that was something that Dean Jensen did.
I'm just going to call this, I won that one. Okay?
Yeah. It's so much easier to turn the EQ, but what Wally pointed out was it was possible when you got tired to turn the EQ and then the next day listen to it with fresh ears and go, especially with 604Es, which were real fatiguing monitors, that doesn't sound right. And then it was really hard to back out of that. Whereas if you could move the mic and get the sound right, it was almost never that the next day you had engineer's remorse.
I agree with moving the mic. I forgot about that. I have to agree with that. I was thinking about changing the mic. Hey, man, some of your work in forensics I find fascinating. Are you still doing the forensic audio go to trials?
I am. There's a thing coming up in February. A woman got run over by a bus which left early, a Greyhound out of Grand Junction, and that's a 12-year-old case.
Oh, man.
That's the last case on my agenda because I really, even though I did that to get the kids through school, I really love microphones much more, and so I'm.
But it is a fascinating profession. I wonder why more people don't get into it.
because it's not about finding out the truth, it's about arguing in court. And it really discourages a lot of real engineers because most of us really want to find the answer.
Wow.
And court system has some limitations that way.
Well, Wes, I'm gonna tie this all up. If you'll share with our audience, what goes through your mind when you design a new mic? The world doesn't need another microphone, and you're a little bit like our friend that's named after a fruit that sometimes creates something we didn't want, but once we see it, we can't live without it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is it you see a need, or is it that you just have this drive to create something that doesn't exist? What goes through your mind? Because your heart and soul are in these things, man. You know
Well, if you don't love what you're doing, oftentimes you got kids. If we'd had twins the first time out, I might have totally different things that I had to go for. Mm-hmm. But I've been incredibly lucky. My wife's father was a biblical archaeologist. He understood guys who really did things that most people didn't understand, but that really they had passion for. And so I'm incredibly lucky I'm married to someone like that. And my son said, you had to marry a school teacher so you could do something you cared about. But I have been working with musicians now and hanging out with them since I started listening to Bakersfield Country when I was 11 or so. Mm-hmm. And as I got into working with them and supplying the technical tools, they'd say, and be it Les Paul or Chet Atkins, they both, when they first ran into the RCA 44, that became the mic because that was the first great microphone. That was the first one that just sounded like the music, 1937. Wow. So as I worked with people more, they'd say, oh, violinist Itzhak Perlman uses our mics. That's the solo mics up close for Memoirs of a Geisha. And a violinist down in Sapau, when we were doing a workshop, said, oh, it has all the tone of the violin and none of the mechanics. And these are things that make it so much easier when it listens like people do and pays attention to the music.
Well, it's very clear you got a passion for this, my friend.
Oh, it's fun stuff to do, just like what you do.
We're going to leave you with Marcus is going to play us out on an acoustic guitar mic'd back to N8s. Cole, how far are you going to put the mics for Marcos? N8 and N22. An N8 and N22. Okay, so we're going to do some vocals too then. Too cool, too cool. Wes, you know you're my favorite, and you're so humble. I would say that the mics you make nowadays are slightly better than your hero mics, the 44 and the 77. No, don't deny it. They're better. I'm not going to accept a denial. They're slightly better. They're consistent. They work.
They're more useful for today's studio practice.
Yes. You guys check out his line. I aspire to own several of his more expensive mics one day soon. But in the meantime, these two guys, the N22 and the N8, are pretty spectacular. Just because they cost less doesn't mean they sound less. These are amazing sounding microphones. In fact, for the money, I don't think you can do better. They got this guy's heart and soul in them. You know they're good. All right, Marcos, take us out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, my friend.
Water droplets falling from the sky, splashing on my face. Here comes the thunder, shower of blessings, soaking me with love and grace. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. Bathing in waves of your glory, tears of joy will break. I'm coming back to my first love, hidden passion awaits. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. Let the thirsty ones come, anyone who wants to. Let them come and drink the water of life without charge. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. I can feel the revival rain washing over me. I can feel the revival